Hello, I'm Dr. Mangier, and this is Punk Science TV. Now, this one is a bit of a request this time. I've had a lot of people send me this article from New Scientist that came out just a few weeks ago, May 2020. Is the universe conscious? So, this is mainstream science actually talking about the topic of consciousness and a new theory of consciousness. So, science still doesn't understand how we are able to experience anything. And it's sometimes called the hard problem of consciousness. So, that's how, all our neurons and atoms and everything, how they are able to give rise to our inner experiences. And what new scientists are reporting on is that some mathematicians think they've made a breakthrough. And it's a theory of consciousness called integrated information theory. So that's where a system's consciousness arises from the way information moves between subsystems. So you can see neurons as kind of islands of subsystems, and consciousness kind of appears when enough information is flowing between the cells. And as information becomes more complex, consciousness kind of emerges from this system. And they're interdependent as well, so the change of flow in one affects everything else. And how well a system integrates information has a value called phi. So the higher the phi, the more conscious a system is. So that's good. This is a mathematical system of consciousness. So where that actually works is, like, for example, the difference between the cerebrum and the cerebellum. So the cerebrum in the brain has lots of connections, and when the cerebrum undergoes any damage, the consciousness is affected more than if there's damage to the cerebellum, which has fewer connections. So damage to the cerebellum doesn't affect consciousness as much. This is according to this theory. However, there are problems. For example, the phi, which is a measure of how conscious the system is, actually increases in our sleep and under anesthesia as well. It also still doesn't explain our inner experiences. So, how is it that we're able to experience the taste of coffee, for example? So, there's still limitations here. But really interesting is what New Scientist goes on to discuss, and that is that according to this mathematical theory, some inanimate systems actually have more consciousness than humans. Now that's really interesting. That concept that the whole of the universe is conscious is usually dismissed by mainstream science. But in this article, they're actually saying that particles themselves might have some sort of consciousness, and that is fundamental, and human and animal consciousness emerges from this. And it even goes on to consider whether or not an electron can be conscious. So this is what's really, really radical. And so it says that this could explain the measurement problem in quantum physics, where observation or measurement actually collapses the waveform into a particle with our measurement. So the idea that everything might be conscious and there's something fundamental about conscious being mentioned in the mainstream is quite an interesting step forward. It's the idea that the universe is all conscious is actually part of the black hole principle, because where you have the different areas of the universe above the perception horizon, which is at the speed of light, and below the below the perception horizon, which is below the speed of light. This is all to do with perception. So when you realize that consciousness is fundamental to the universe, it makes sense of why so much of the universe is basically hidden. It's, about 98% at least is dark matter, dark energy. So, and the black hole principle depends on the idea that all of the universe is consciousness. And what's happening is that the different levels of consciousness are expressing themselves in different ways. And with the black hole principle, infinite consciousness basically makes its way down through the dimensions and eventually hits our dimension below what we call the speed of light, and creates what we know as our 3D world. So it's a crucial part of the black hole principle. So it's really amazing that it's now being discussed in mainstream science by mainstream mathematicians. So I hope you found that interesting. What do you make of this new theory? Please let me know in the comments. And if you like this sort of punk science TV, then let me know. Subscribe so that you get the updates either here on Facebook or on YouTube. And thanks for watching, and bye for now.